Yeah,
Yeah.
with the rising polarization that Bruce and Sheila were talking about, there is a um, hypothesis, where parts of it come from different authors like Ray Dalio, Peter Turchin. There's a I forget one of the other ones. And I think Brian shares this view with me also, which is that there's an 80-year cycle in recent history, meaning the last 300 years since the Industrial Revolution. And what happens in the latter part of the cycle is that the economics get worse and worse. It causes more and more misery all across society, and conflicts tend to increase in this era. So the last time we were in that area was, 1930s, and the high point of conflict was World War II. And I think you could argue that it occurred, with the Civil War, with the American Revolution, and it's sort of an era in the cycle where, in the previous part of the cycle, a lot of conflicts may be sort of, people just talk about the conflicts, but they don't manage to convince each other, and so the two sides persist, and eventually, this is the era where sort of push comes to shove, and it comes to the place where someone finally wins out and says, there's one side that wins and says, this is how it's going to be in the future. After the Civil War, we're no longer going to have slavery. After the Great Depression, we're not going to have fascism in the world for a certain period of time. In a sentence, I think that we're maybe in the era, where conflicts sort of come to a boiling point, and the two sides, they were sort of willing to compromise for a while, but it finally comes to a point where they're no longer willing to compromise, and there's some sort of fight where one side wins and one side gets their way. So, like for the Civil War, one side got their way and said there's going to be no more slavery. That's how it's going to be. After World War II, the world said there's going to be no more fascism, at least for now. That's the way it's going to be. And yeah, sorry, that's more than a sentence, but I'm cautiously optimistic about this era, because I think that I've been, terrified of what's coming for the last 2 years. And now that things are happening, I feel like the path has been a little bit better than, sort of the analogous paths, prior to World War II. Things are turning a little bit better than last time around.